Hello everyone, in today's video we'll be hosting our upcoming shining star with his Celica. In the previous videos this guy raced against the K20 Accord and what else? The MX-5, yeah, the ND. Some people actually sent me a message about why is this car so slow.
Extremely slow.
The reason for that is that it still uses the stock 1ZZ transmission. Even though I do use the same transmission, my car is way lighter, and at the same time I have a tune that allows me to stay in lift in every single gear, while that's not the same deal for the Celica. Every single time it shifts, it drastically drops off lift point and it immediately drops to about 140 horsepower till it gets into lift again and pushes about 170, 180. We don't exactly know. Today's video we will be going to check and most likely buying a 2ZZ swap Celica T-Sport transmission. It's way
with an
shorter.
LSD.
LSD?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically the Torsen standard LSD. The deal here is that this transmission is way shorter than the current one, and in every single gear you switch, you stay in lift, and that's basically everything you need with a 2ZZ, because anything outside of 6.2k RPM, this engine is just powerless. Yeah, we will be most likely buying that and then doing a bunch of tests. This car is currently sitting on about 15.5 on the quarter mile, and how much on 0 to 100 kilometers? 0 to 60?
7.7.
7.7 approximately. Now the thing with me is that I personally think that the car will get quicker, but not that much on the straight line. It will be better for toge, better for track use. You will have all this power band available for you in every single speed you will go around the track or something. And again, it will be faster maybe in a rolling start, because you will be again in better speeds than with standard 1ZZ transmission. But in the quarter mile you will be always in need of an extra gear to cross the finish line. So my idea here is that the quarter mile won't be really all that different, maybe quicker, but still not like, how much you guessing? 14 point something?
14.7. That's what I'm guessing.
I'm guessing nothing below than 15.0. That's my personal expectation.
A hater.
No, that's my just personal expectation from what I know about the 2ZZ and what I have been living with for the past 2 years. About the 0 to 100. You go from 7 to 7 to what? What do you think you will achieve?
I'm assuming 6.2. That should be where this car sits. Considering it was a 1ZZ and it's swapped to 2ZZ, so it's lighter. Lighter brakes, lighter anti-sway bars.
Yeah, it's basically not a
it's
not a tough sport, a T-sport, how you call that. But the thing here is that if you hit 7.7 with the standard 1ZZ transmission, with the 2ZZ T-Sport one, you will have the same first gear, so your launch won't be all that different.
Yes,
and then whenever you will switch to second gear, you will be faster, but at the same time the other Celica with the 1ZZ will be pulling on you, because you will have to swap into third gear in order to reach 0 to 100.
No. The 0 to 100 point, the short gearbox has a max top speed of 110, I think. And I have the LSD.
Yeah, the LSD will play a huge role, because some people don't take that they don't consider the LSD as a proper upgrade, even though it mostly is. It's better to have a 5-speed LSD than just a 6-speed, and I've heard it from literally everyone. You better buy, or you better stay on your 5-speed LSD than upgrading to a 6-speed without an LSD. But we don't have an LSD on the 5-speed currently, and we're gonna have the LSD on the 6-speed. Anyways, that's a lot of talking. Let's go see the transmission. Let's see if we will be lucky enough to get it today, and see whenever we will install it, the actual results of the draggy sleeve. Is she still there? I don't know. She's upside down now, but it's okay.
This is the golden piece right here. As you can see, the owner of this channel is mentally disabled.
So we got it. We're gonna wait for this idiot to install it, and whenever he's ready, we gotta see what
next week
a C60 transmission is capable of.
with an LSD, because
yeah, that's
LSD is good. We're ready to change the transmission, and this is the best mechanic ever. He's inspecting now what we need to remove, what we need to keep. It's gonna be an easy process. Puli? Okay. The old gearbox is out. And now I installed the LSD one. Now I'm just finishing up with the engine mounts and all of the accessories that are needed. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, that's about it. I want to say it's a hard job, but it definitely requires two people because this thing is very heavy, especially compared to a smaller one like a Starlet or whatever. So, with the help of the best mechanic ever, we just installed all the mounts and everything. I also put in place the clutch slave cylinder, however the fuck it's called. Tested out the clutch, it feels normal as it should. So now I'm finishing up with the shifter cable and stuff. Also the bearing mod, very nice feeling, 100% would recommend that. Disaster about the strike. Come on, yep. Disaster averted, okay. What are you doing, bro?
8 hours of labor and the car is completely different. He states that it's way faster, way more usable torque and everything as you would suppose. I've driven this car for what? 2 or 3 times max,
yeah.
And it was heavy, plus the transmission, it was really bad. But now it's time to, see if it's any different, any better, any quicker. People say it's a way better daily driver as well.
You can actually feel the weight of the differential. You might notice it, at least I noticed it right away.
First gear is as always the same. Now, yeah, it's way more interesting as a car. Already, you go into second gear and you can already feel
You can also see if you put it in third, it doesn't bog right away. It still has some pep.
Like the first gear is exactly the same, and then you go into second.
And you wait for the stop.
So you go first. Yeah.
Third is the biggest difference in my opinion.
Yeah, third is the biggest. It's raining.
Of course it started raining right away.
But it's okay, I already felt what I would feel. I don't really have to comment on the LSD. The LSD is always a good thing. Almost nobody ever says, oh, LSD, I don't like the way it drives now. But the noticeable difference is already here. I don't have to rev it to the moon to understand or feel something. The case here is, yeah, your third gear is
usable.
Is usable gear. The rain helps. The rain helped everything, but yeah, the third gear is the most interesting thing so far. But I can already say that I like it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's LSD now.
In the rain.
The spin, I've never experienced anything with the MR2 to be. Yeah, it's the third gear is more happy driven. I don't know how to explain that. It's a gear that you can use. What happens with the fourth? Like,
it's still better than the previous third.
Wait,
to be honest.
We can go. Okay, so the 2ZZ, that's what I wanted to test. The 2ZZ is a bad engine for what appears to be 1 to 2k RPM. It doesn't matter what gear you go, even second gear, best transmission, okay? LSD, second gear, we go to 1k, full throttle, the car just sleeps. It's torqueless, it's bad, it's, I don't know, these cars need to be like what, 800 kilograms to be quick and have
something like
a reasonable torque. Yeah, we're third gear, that's the interesting thing. I was about to
shift into third.
Shift into third because of the speed and the RPM, and then I see I'm already in third. The thing here is that my car, let's say, is 960 kilograms and it feels like that. This car is 1,170. Yeah. When you put the 6-speed, this car feels lighter. And that's the deal with it. The car needs to feel lighter with this transmission because it's torqueless. And with the transmissions we use, with the stock ones basically, the ones it loses every potential of reusable torque. It only appears to give power on top end, and anything below lift, the car just sleeps. And here, that's not the case. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, with all that rain, we had to stop, and eventually we did not do any testing on the car, but we will be doing it soon as the weather will be as good as today. I thought it would have been nice to have a brief talk about the differences that I felt by driving the car just a little bit. The car feels lighter, quicker, and already way better and fun to drive. Before we get into the numbers, we actually have to consider and think of the LSD, because the biggest difference for me will be the LSD. It will give you a better launch, more utility at least to get the car going, and then you will have less wheel spin and more power given to the wheels for you to push the car to the finish line. Again, maybe it's time for me to reconsider and say, hey, the goal of Alex being 14.7 is realistic. No, I again feel that the car, no matter how light it is compared to the T-Sport Celica, it's still not gonna make it, or it's gonna make it after lots of runs, because another thing that we have to take in consideration, the 15.5 was done in what? 3 or 4 runs. So maybe Alex with some more pressure would eventually squeeze out some better times, and I personally think we can give some room for error on making the 15.5 an actual 15.3 and making the 7.7 0 to 100 a 7.5 base case scenario. I mean, it sounds kind of weird, but again, only 3 or 4 runs that Alex did to get those times, and that's not a lot, and maybe we'll have to do 10, 15, 20 runs till we actually get the best of the C64 transmission. To finish everything here and get to the testing, the car did 15.5. We give it a room and make it a 15.3 as of my expectations, or if I would have been driving it, or if I would be putting the gears aggressively, 15.3. 0 to 100 was 7.7. Let's give it a room of error to 7.5. We have my times here, or here, I don't know. I always don't know how the editing will go. So here are my times, and here are expectations of Alex. So 13.7 on the quarter mile and 6.2, if I'm not wrong, on 0 to 100, 0 to 60. I'm at the spot right now waiting for Alex to come and see what the C64 is capable of doing against the basic 1ZZ transmission. Let's go. Well, it did actually take me some while to get to this part of the video, to the conclusion part, but I just did it to make sure that everything we say here will be 100% correct, nothing will be a lie, and after a couple of testing, we get the correct results or the proper results. Before we get started with showing the previous and the current results from the draggies, I just wanted to tell you that I will be covering or blurring down the slope section of the draggy, because every time Alex uses the draggy, for some reason it's an impressively high amount of slope, even though every single person races on the same road that you saw in the video. But yeah, Alex most of the time gets 1 point something slope, and that doesn't really make sense. Maybe it's the location he puts the draggy, we don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's still the same road, everything the same, so the comparison is 100% right. Let's see the time that Alex did with the 5-speed, or actually the 6-speed, but the 1ZZ one, not the T-Sport 2ZZ transmission. I will be putting it to my right side, somewhere here I guess, wherever I will be able to put it, and you can see the 0 to 100, you can see the quarter mile, obviously, you can see the 60 foot. Basically you have everything that you would need to know about the quarter mile. It's a 15.5 run with an okay launch, even though possibly you can squeeze out some time, and maybe with better shifts you could get it to a 13.3, 13.4. Why do I keep saying 30? Sorry, I mean 15. I'm stuck to my times with the MR2, so 15. Every single time I said 13, I apologize. I meant 15.5, or maybe drop it to 15.4, 15.3. On my left side, right here, is the time that Alex did in the run you saw in the video. Now we did a couple more runs, and the best time we got was a 15.1 actually, and surprisingly the time is not even close to what I expected, because I said 15.0, maybe we'll be able to squeeze some you know, some magic trick with the shifting and get it to do 14.9, but unfortunately that's not the case. Now, before we go ahead and actually speak about the times, and you know, I think you can already see where the difference is. The difference is not actually on the 6-speed, but mostly on the LSD, because if you cut the time from here on the 60 foot, like the launch, and you know, remove the time from here, you get approximately the same time. So basically, if he did have the LSD on the previous run, maybe he would be able to do that same launch, if not better, and get approximately the same time. I'm not here to downgrade the 6-speed, by no means. I did actually want to do a 6-speed swap in my car, or the T-Sport anyways, the C64, I don't know, the good transmission, let's call it from now on. But you know, the price was a little bit high. Removing the LSD from the 5-speed and you know, putting it into the good one, and then the MR2s actually need some modification on the something on the top of the transmission, I'm not sure, but yeah, everything adds up and the cost goes to almost 1,000 euros here in my country. So I was like, pass, let's do the tune. I will be honest with you, the car is capable of doing better times, a little bit of better weather, some better shifting, because Alex is not really used to the transmission yet, as I said previously in the video. And from the video you see from the run, you can hear that Alex actually early shifts some shifts, or like the first one or the second one, I'm not sure. He early shifts it, so he actually drops quite a lot of lift and he gets the same response as he did get from the other transmission. So he basically missed the good part of the good transmission for one shift. And then you can hear that he goes into 4th gear, and eventually that's the choke point for me on the quarter mile, because if you put it to 4th gear, you're actually choking the engine again, and again you lose some time on shifting. So plus you don't want to money shift, so you always have to think about it, and maybe you put it a little bit slower, because I did have such a bad story in my career. Well, you can see the times, you can pause it, or I do actually talk a lot, so you can keep your eyes here on the right, on the left, and understand that for the quarter mile, the deal is not about the transmission. If you are a guy that races quarter mile, you do not actually need the transmission. But if we delete everything about the quarter mile, remove the times here, and go into a more enjoyable ride, 6-speed is amazing. The car feels so much better, so much faster. It's enjoyable to drive. If you drive 1ZZ and 2ZZ transmission cars, you will feel it in the first second of the car, and you will be able to have the same reaction as I had with going from first gear, oh it's the same, second, and immediately a completely different ride. Again, Alex went to Toge on the back streets and he told me, wow, the LSD is way better, but the transmission itself feels that the car is able to squeeze some power out. And that's the downside with the other transmission, that you feel that the engine is actually choking. So you actually want to feel that your engine is on point, working fine, giving the power output it's supposed to. The times are not good. I told Alex, you know, something is wrong. 15s for this car is definitely not a good time. But considering the bad headers he has, some wiped cams, and you know, overall driver mode, I think that the car is capable of doing 14.9, even 14.7 as he wants to, but he will definitely have to get some driver mode and eventually fix all the issues he has, because if he doesn't, I think it's almost impossible to drop so many milliseconds. And that's what Alex did not understand in my side, that dropping from a 15.5, 15.7 is a little bit too much. With just one transmission, that's a no-no. Maybe if he had a completely bad transmission, or maybe if he had something stupid as an issue for the quarter mile that wouldn't accept the gear, maybe. But if it's working fine, then no. Almost a whole second from just a transmission. Me personally, I've not seen it. Maybe you have on a different car, or maybe in your experience, but our experience here shows that the 2ZZ and the 1ZZ transmissions are not really that much of a big of a deal. Like the difference is not huge for the quarter mile. We will be doing more tests. You will be seeing Alex's car in races, Toge, in our videos, in our channel, and maybe by the time you will be watching this video, you will have to watch another video uploaded and see, oh, 13.7, How come? How did they manage it? How did they do it? Maybe even better times. Maybe Alex goes and started putting nitrous there. You never know. So with that being said, stay tuned and we will be updating you every single time we get better times. That's it. I think you understood the differences here. That's it from me. I will see you in the next video. Stay tuned. We will be having some possible races with the Renault Clio, with the Citroën AX that only weighs 760 kilograms. Obviously it has way less power than we do, but it weighs 200 kilograms less. And the possibility of a Seat Ibiza FR 250 horsepower. So stay tuned and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.